In today's video, we are going to be talking about how screen time impacts your sleep and brain. The impact that it has on the circadian rhythm, which is the internal clock inside of your body that controls when you feel awake or alert, and also when you feel tired or sleepy. It's also going to talk about how screen time can cause us to develop poor sleeping habits that can lead to insomnia, which is an inability to fall asleep or stay asleep, and also how screen time can impact our mental health, causing things like anxiety, depression, and other mood disorders. If you're ready, let's get into it. On this channel, we discuss all things related to your health and wellness, including mental health and much more. If this is your first time here, please take a moment to subscribe so that you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. If you are not aware, most of us spend a significant amount of time looking at screens throughout the day. For example, we wake up, and the first thing we do is check our phones to see what messages we have or what notifications we have. We look at the computer for work or school, and after work or school, we go home and we still end up looking at screens from our televisions or from our computers, or maybe playing video games. And then before bed, we once again go back to our phones. Many of us are scrolling on social media and doing other things on our phone right before bed. The problem with spending so much time staring at screens is that these screens emit a very specific type of light called blue light. Blue light is a high-energy visible light that is all around us. You can find it from the sun, but you can also find it from your screens. Now, you may ask, what's wrong with this blue light? Well, too much blue light can actually impact your circadian rhythm, which is the internal clock that controls when you feel awake and alert, and also when you should be feeling tired and sleepy. This disruption in your circadian rhythm can lead to poor sleeping habits, which can then lead to insomnia. And looking at screens right before bed can also stimulate your brain and make it more difficult for you to fall asleep. This is because the blue light emitted from the screens can actually trick your brain into thinking that it's still daytime, making it harder to fall asleep. So that is one way that screen time can negatively affect your sleep. Another way that screen time can impact your sleep is by causing eye strain and headaches. Staring at a screen for long periods of time can cause your eyes to become strained and dry, which can lead to headaches. And we all know that headaches can make it very difficult to fall asleep. Additionally, the blue light emitted from screens can also disrupt your sleep. As I mentioned earlier, this is because the blue light can interfere with the production of melatonin, which is a hormone that helps regulate your sleep cycle. When your melatonin levels are low, it can make it more difficult to fall asleep and stay asleep. And another way that screen time can impact your sleep is by disrupting your cortisol levels. Cortisol is a hormone that is released in response to stress. And when your cortisol levels are high, it can make it more difficult to fall asleep. When we are looking at screens, we are constantly being bombarded with visual stimuli, which can cause our stress levels to rise and ultimately impact our sleep. So when we are looking at screens, they can impact the amount of sleep that we get each night. Another way that screen time can impact your sleep is by delaying the time that you go to bed. When you are scrolling through social media or watching YouTube videos or TV shows, it can be easy to lose track of time. Before you know it, it's late at night and you still haven't gone to bed. And when you consistently go to bed later and later, it can disrupt your circadian rhythm, which can lead to poor sleeping habits and insomnia. In addition to impacting your sleep, too much screen time can also negatively affect your mental health. As I mentioned earlier, the constant stimulation from screens can cause our stress levels to rise, which can contribute to anxiety and other mood disorders. Looking at screens can also make us feel isolated and lonely. Why? Because we are spending less time interacting with other people and more time interacting with our screens. And finally, the blue light emitted from screens can also impact your mental health. Studies have shown that too much blue light can cause feelings of anxiety and depression. Now, you may ask, how much screen time is too much? Well, it really depends on a number of factors, including the age of the individual and also their overall health. However, in general, it's recommended that we limit our screen time to no more than 2 hours per day. So now that we know how screen time can impact our sleep and our mental health, let's talk about some ways that we can minimize the negative effects of screen time. One of the best ways to minimize the negative effects of screen time is to take regular breaks from screens. This can be difficult in today's world, where we are constantly connected, but it is important to make an effort to do so. Try setting a timer for every 30 minutes to 1 hour to remind yourself to take a break from your screen. When you take a break, try getting up and moving around, stretching or doing some deep breathing exercises. This can help you relax and focus on the present moment. And remember, the present moment is where life is happening. The past has already happened, and the future hasn't happened yet. So it's important to focus on the present moment and appreciate where you are. Another way to minimize the negative effects of screen time is to avoid using screens right before bed. As I mentioned earlier, the blue light emitted from screens can make it more difficult to fall asleep. So try to avoid using screens for at least an hour before bedtime. Instead, try reading a book or doing some journaling. These activities can help you wind down and prepare for bed. Another way to minimize the negative effects of screen time is to invest in blue light filters. Blue light filters can be added to your computer screens, phone screens, and even glasses. These filters can help block out the blue light and protect your eyes and your brain. You can also try wearing special glasses that are designed to filter out blue light. These glasses can be particularly helpful if you are using screens in the evening. And finally, another way to minimize the negative effects of screen time is to be mindful of your screen time. When you are using screens, try to be mindful of your usage. This means being aware of how much time you are spending on your phone or on your computer, and also being aware of how you are feeling while you are using these devices. If you notice that you are feeling anxious or stressed, take a break and do something else. You can also try setting some ground rules for yourself when it comes to screen time. For example, you could decide to only use your phone during certain times of the day, or you could decide to avoid using social media altogether. By setting some ground rules for yourself, you can help ensure that you are using screen time in a healthy and mindful way. You see, it is important to be aware of the potential dangers of too much screen time. However, it's also important not to be overly worried or anxious about screen time. Remember, everything in moderation is fine. Too much of a good thing can turn bad, and everything in moderation can be considered a good thing. So just be mindful of your screen time and take steps to minimize the negative effects. I hope you enjoyed this video and learned something new. Please let me know what you think in the comments below. If you're interested in learning more about how to improve your sleep, next video, I will make video about 5 best vitamins for better sleep. In that video, I go over 5 vitamins that can help you sleep better at night. I also explain how each vitamin works and the benefits of taking them. You can click the link on the card to access that video directly. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye for now.